Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. As you can see, we are finally doing my 2019/20 Championship table predictions for the upcoming season. As you guys know, the start of the season is only 2 or 3 weeks away, depending on what time you're watching this video. So I thought, before I start going to some games and vlogging them, and before I start doing other videos, I'm going to get out my Championship table prediction. What I'm going to say is, please don't roast me in the comments, and please don't have a go at me, because obviously a lot of you guys are going to disagree with what I say. Some of you might agree. This is personal preference, this is personal opinion, and the teams I might put to go down, you guys might not agree. Where I put your team, it might offend you, so try not to get offended. This is just what I think. Let me know yours, your top 6 and bottom 3 in the comments, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is going to be my 2019/2020 Championship table prediction. Behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love. We're going to start off with 24th. Like I say, if you don't agree, don't insult me in the comments. Yeah, this is just my opinion. 24th, I'm going for Millwall. I think Millwall are going to finish rock bottom. They came up the year after we beat them in the playoff final, which we beat them in 2016, so they got promoted in 2017. So they've had 2 years in the Championship since they've got promoted. Survived each year. Last year only just surviving, being a couple of places up. They've lost 2 key players, I do believe. One is it Morrison, and another key player that they've lost up front. I know they've signed 2 to replace them, but my opinion this season, I think Millwall will be too weak, and they will be one of the 3 teams to go down this season. The next team, who I'm putting at 23rd, is Wigan Athletic. Just like Millwall, they're always there and thereabouts, down bottom. They lost Will Grigg last season. Brought in a player from Sheffield United. I do believe it was McGoldrick. I think it was McGoldrick. I apologise if this is wrong, as my knowledge has been on League One for last year, so I'm just adapting back to the Championship. They got him in, scored a few goals. They've been just above relegation, just below mid-table for a couple of years. But like I say, just like Millwall, I think it is Wigan's time to go down. So I put Wigan at 23rd to get relegated. And to make up the final relegation spot, I'm going for one of the teams that did get promoted, which is Charlton Athletic. They came up via the playoffs along with us and Luton. They've got 2 good strikers up front with Lyle Taylor, who scored a bagful last year, and a good signing from MK Dons, I do believe. And the guy called Chuks Anike, who is meant to be a good prospect. If he can smash it in the Championship like he did it in League 2, will be another story. But they also lost player called Bauer, I do believe that was a centre-back, and another centre-mid, which I forgot his name. Aribo, I do believe. If I'm wrong, I do apologise. But they've lost them 2 players, and I don't see Charlton scraping enough points to stay up this season, in my opinion. So I'm putting Charlton at 22nd, and the 3rd team to be relegated. Like I say, let me know your top 6 and bottom 3 in the comments, and I apologise if you don't agree with my predictions. The next one is 21st place, the team that is just going to scrape relegation. I'm going for QPR. They always survive. They're always, some odd seasons they'll be in the mid-table, thinking they're going to get the playoffs, but they never really have a shout. But they always survive. They never seem to creep in playoffs. They never really seem to go down. They've been in Championship for quite a few years, I do believe. And I think it'll be another bland season for QPR and you QPR fans. I think you'll just survive. You did lose Freeman. I think it was Freeman. I think he did play for QPR to Sheffield United. But yeah, I think you've lost your striker. I think it was Matt Smith who used to play for you as well. But I think you'll just scrape survival like you do most years. So QPR 21st. The next place is Reading. Just like QPR. A bit different to QPR actually. We've seen them get into the playoffs a couple of times. Notably, one of the main ones was when they lost to Huddersfield in the final, because I remember Huddersfield beating Sheffield Wednesday in the semi-finals on penalties, and then they beat Reading in the final on penalties. That's when Huddersfield got into the Premier League. Reading are a very up and down team. One year they'll be challenging for the playoffs, the next year they'll be down bottom, mid-table-ish. But I think this year it'll be similar to last year. They won't do too well and they'll be down bottom, but they will stay up, and I think Reading will finish in 20th. Coming up from, they got promoted the season before last. They had you could say, an averagely strong season last year. It did Blackburn Rovers. Coming up via the automatic promotion, I do believe. They finished second behind Wigan. Yes, that's correct. They finished second behind Wigan, and they had a decent season last season, finishing around the mid-table area. Not really in a relegation scrap, not really in a promotion push. It was a strong season, decent season for you Blackburn fans, coming back up to the Championship at the first time of asking, I do believe. But yeah, I think they'll finish just below mid-table, and they'll finish in 19th place for Blackburn. In 18th place, I've got a away day that I love to go to, and I am also looking forward to next year because it's really easy and convenient for me as a Barnsley fan. I'm going for Hull City in 18th. I remember them getting into a playoff final a couple of years ago, when they beat Sheffield Wednesday into the Premier League. That was quite a while ago, to be fair. Then they came back down, and they've always been in the Championship since, I do believe. They've got good players like that Hernandez that they did have. I'm not sure if he's still there. And that, is it Belden or Bowen? Matty Bowen, I think, one of wingers that scored quite a lot of goals last year. They've got some good players, but I don't think there'll be any threat, and I think they'll have a nice, easy, average season, finishing 18th in my opinion. The next team is in 17th. I'm going for Birmingham City. As you guys know, last year they did have a possible chance to push towards the playoffs. I remember just before they got the points deduction, they was, if I recall correct, there were probably 2 or 3 wins off the playoffs, as the playoff push last year in the Championship was so tight. As you know, since then, Birmingham have had their points reduction, and look, for them, they survived. This year, they've got a lot on the back. They're sharing the ground with Coventry City, which is a really nice thing for Coventry, as they cannot play at the Ricoh Arena anymore. They also lost the manager, Gary Monk, who got sacked quite recently, actually, which is too close to the season for a new manager to regroup in the pre-season, in my opinion, which I found a bit strange. And they also lost their key man up top, Shea Adams, and I'm pretty sure they also lost one of their wingers as well, but I forgot his name, so I'm not going to try to guess and get it wrong. But losing the manager, points deduction knocking them down last year, and losing their main striker, so I'm going to go for Birmingham to finish 17th. As we slowly creep up towards that mid-table area, we finally hit our second newly promoted side. I'm going for Luton Town in 16th place. Last year, it was their first season in League One after getting promoted to League Two, and as you guys know, they stormed it in League One and won the league, obviously holding off competition of likes of us, Barnsley, Charlton, Portsmouth and Sunderland, but fighting down to last day and winning the league over us. So credit to you guys. You've got a very strong first season back in the League One, like I said. You've also got some really good players like Hilton and Collins up front. You did lose one of your fullbacks in, is it James Justin, I do believe, but you've got a really good strong team. Your caretaker manager did do really good for you last year, but I do believe he's stepping down to back down to secondary manager and someone else. I don't know, I'm not sure if you've appointed someone already, but I heard that he's not going to be taking over next season. So if that new manager can take over and do as good as the last guy, then we'll see. But I've got Luton Town finishing very strongly in their first season to finish 16th. And then now we come on to the last promoted team, which is my team, Barnsley. You could say it's biased, tipping them to finish higher than the other 3, as the bookies have us to finish bottom. But I have faith in my team. I have faith in Stendhal. I'm going to put Barnsley in 15th place, sorry. Like Luton, they were new to League One, just like our manager were new to English football. Came in for his first season in League One and got us promoted at the first time of asking, where hopefully there's speculations that he could be leaving, but it's most likely that he's staying. He's lost a few players and he's done his best to regroup and replace them players, bringing in 9 new summer signings this summer, with the summer transfer window still open and still more to sign. I think we will survive in our first season back. In my opinion, I think we'll be strong next year. Not strong, but I think we'll give people a better test than what they're expecting. So I'm putting my team, Barnsley, in a good first season back, just like Luton, in 15th place. Next position is 14th, where I'm going to put Bristol City. As you guys know, in the last couple of years, Bristol City have become an ambitious club, challenging for the playoffs last year, falling short, unfortunately for them, along with the likes of Middlesbrough, Preston, Sheffield Wednesday, with Derby getting that 6th spot on the final day. Their manager has signed a new contract, Lee Johnson, who used to be the manager of Barnsley. He's been there quite a few years, but he has signed a contract extension, so that means he's ambitious and he's got goals. Otherwise, he won't be signing a contract after being there for so long. But I just think Bristol City won't be able to do what they did last year. They'll be strong, finishing just below mid-table, but I don't think they'll be able to do what they did last year and finish near playoffs. So I think Bristol City will finish 14th next season. This next one's a funny one, as I made these predictions and I've got them all written down before I heard the news of the Sheffield Wednesday manager leaving. 13th place, I'm off for Sheffield Wednesday. Steve Bruce, strong at the back since last year. Under him, since he came in, they tightened up so much at the back. But on this day, as I'm recording this, he has actually notably and rumours that he's handed in a transfer request and asked to go speak to Newcastle, which you can't blame him, getting interest from Premier League clubs, and Newcastle, who are meant to have a lot of money next year if they get these big owners. So I reckon with the Steve Bruce leaving, they'll still have a strong season. When I say strong, mid-table is strong to me as a Barnsley fan, but yeah, I think Sheffield Wednesday will finish 13th without Steve Bruce next year. The next one is a very controversial one, and a lot of ones you guys might disagree with me. When Stoke first got relegated at the end of 2 seasons ago, majority of the people tipped them to finish in the top 6 minimum, and they underachieved by finishing in the bottom half last season. They brought in quite a few players, brought in the new manager towards the end of last season, bringing the Luton manager in, and Butland's also meant to be on the leave. But they've also brought in Adam Davis from us and Liam Lindsay from us and several other key players. And a lot of people are backing Stoke to be up there again, but I don't see it. I think Stoke won't struggle, but I don't think they'll have, for the quality and the squad depth they've got, I don't think they'll do as everyone's tipping. That's why I'm putting Stoke to finish 12th next season. Preston North End. They've got a very good strike force and they're very solid. They can score and they concede. They're a very neutral club in my eyes. They've lost the likes of Callum Robinson to Thingy. They signed Brad Potts off us last year. Sean Maguire scoring goals for fun in pre-season as he scored a hat-trick against AFC Clyde. Preston North End, they're sometimes up there pushing for the playoffs, but they never seem to get in. Like last year, they were up there, they were getting close, and then they faded off towards end of season. Could call it inconsistency, you could call it just backing off a bit, but I think they'll be in the top half again, not too far off the playoffs. I think Preston will finish 11th. They've brought in a few key players and also keeping Maguire, but I don't think they'll do as well without the likes of Robinson and the other couple of players that they've lost. So I'm off for Preston in 11th position. 10th place is Derby County after, unfortunately for them, losing in the playoffs final to Aston Villa. I think Derby will not have as good season as last year and I think they will finish 10th. These are just like Sheffield Wednesday if Sheffield Wednesday lose the manager. As you guys know, Frank Lampard has gone to Chelsea. Fair enough to Frank, he did well at Derby in his first season. He's got the option to go to one of the biggest clubs in England, Chelsea, and he's gone there. Derby have lost quite a few players, some of their loan players that they had from the Premier League, so I just don't think they will be as strong this year without them and without their manager. Hopefully they can do as well as they did, because I respect Frank for what he did, and hopefully he goes on and does well for Chelsea, but I think Derby won't be as good as last season for the playoffs. I think they'll be finishing in 10th position. Now getting into the top 10 slowly. In 9th position we've got Nottingham Forest, a team just like Preston in my opinion. They always seem to be up there for parts of the season, but never seem to get in there. They did lose their manager, the ex-Republic of Ireland manager, and they have brought in a new one recently, another foreigner, and they've brought in quite a few players. I watched Doran Tor and Jack Pugsley, and that they seem pretty confident about some of the players they've brought in. I know they won the first pre-season game, but I'm not too sure what they've done there. But they have brought in some good signings, strengthening up, keeping some of the players that they've got, like Jack Colback, that Carvalho guy, and I think it's Pantilimon in net they've still got. If that's wrong, I apologise, but I think Nottingham Forest will be one of the strong teams next year and they'll be up there for the playoffs, but they won't be too strong to get in the playoffs, and I think Nottingham Forest will finish 9th next season. It's going to be a repeat next year for Middlesbrough, in my opinion. They're going to be finishing 8th. It's a very similar position to last year. They're going to be just missing out on the playoffs. They missed playoffs last year, despite the good team. They've got good funds, they've got good facilities, a big crowd, they've got a decent fan base, and they've got some good players in there, like the types of Aidan Flint, Ryan Shotton, Ashley Fletcher, Asom Bolonga. They've got some good players in there. They should be challenging for promotion, but I think they're going to have another, not undercut season, but not the best season, and miss out on playoffs. I think they'll finish 8th, as they missed out on, I think it was the last day of the year last year, going down to the wire with the likes of Bristol City and Derby. They was in the playoffs for quite a bit of the season as well, if I do recall, but I do think they will have another not so good season and finish 8th and miss out on the playoffs. And now it's took us all the way up to 7th place to get our first newly relegated Premier League side. Cardiff City is going to be 7th in my opinion. They've got a good strong team coming down. They've got a good strong manager. Obviously they had all the mishap with the striker that they signed, and unfortunately all that controversy happened. Some people praise the Cardiff manager for what happened and how he dealt with it all and how well they did despite losing a signing like that, which could have been such influential signing, as there were so many close games they could have won to stayed up. But they've got such a good team, Cardiff, with the likes of Patterson up front, Junior Hoylett and players like that, but I think they'll just fall short of the playoffs, finishing 7th behind their Welsh rivals, which we're going to get into next. This prediction could change to do with the transfer window. As I'm recording this, Ollie McBurney is a Swansea City player. I tipped Swansea to do well last year, but they didn't do so well, finishing not miles, but not too close to the playoffs. In the top half, but not close to the playoffs. As I'm recording this, they've got Ollie McBurney, a goal-scoring machine. You could say I'm biased because he used to play for Barnsley. Yes, I know they've lost Daniel James, but I just see Swansea being a force next year with some of the players they've bought in as well. I think they will nick 6th place. I think it'll be like last season. It'll go down to the last game between teams like Cardiff, Borough and Notts Forest that will finish outside. But I think Swansea will be occupying that 6th position next year for the playoffs. Same old, positive, repetitive West Brom. Same as last year basically. West Brom, I'm putting them in 5th position. Like they finished, did they finish 5th last year, or they finished 4th or 5th? But I think they'll be in the playoffs next year, West Brom. Despite losing, I think Gale's gone back to, I'm not sure if they've still got Gale next year. Rondon is meant to be leaving to the Chinese club that Rafa Benitez has gone to, as obviously Rondon was at Newcastle because he did the switch with Dwight Gale. That's why Gale was at West Brom for a bit. But they've also got the likes of, they've lost Harvey Barnes, but they've also got the likes of experience. They've got that Stephen Dawson at centre-back. They've got Mason Holgate. I think he was on loan there. If he goes back, that's another story. But they've got some good experience in around that squad. Gareth Barry, I'm not sure if he's retired or not, but if he's still going, then he's a legend. And I think West Brom will finish 5th in that second to bottom playoff position. The second newly relegated team is Huddersfield Town. Coming down from the Premier League, their second season, which has survived 2 seasons in the Premier League with the players and the facilities and the money they've got compared to some of the teams. I think it's quite a good thingy. Not the best season last year, obviously, as we know, but they've got some good experienced players, a lot of players that know how to play in the Championship. They did lose their goalkeeper, Lossell, to Lursell, however you pronounce it, to Everton. But they have got some good players in there, like players like Aaron Moy, Kachunga, Callum Grant that they signed. We know he can score goals in League One. He scored a couple for Huddersfield last year, and I think he'll do well in the Championship next year and help Huddersfield to get into playoffs and finish 4th. And you've got to have a surprise prediction. A surprise not after the signings, but a surprise before their signings. Brentford is going to get that last playoff place in 3rd. They've signed two great centre-backs. They've signed Ethan Pinnock and Pontus Jansson from Leeds United. Pinnock, of course, a great centre-back who showed his abilities in League One. If he can do it in Championships, another matter. And they also signed Pontus Jansson, who was a very surprise move, which I did not expect personally to thingy. They also sold one of their centre-backs for a whopping, I think it was 15 or 12. It was a double figure amount to win at Premier Leagues. And they've also got key players up front like Sawyers and that other coloured striker that scored quite a lot of goals. They've got that small ginger lad in middle who I remember playing other year, who's a good player. That Sawyers is linked to the move out. With the key the players they've got, I think Brentford will have a really strong season and finish third. Now on to the automatic promotions. This one, that the team I'm putting in second, hurts me to say it, but I do believe they'll get it. Despite losing Janssen, and despite on the verge of losing Klitsch and Phillips, who are all linked on the way out, and a couple of them haven't even gone on their pre-season tour, I do think Leeds will finish second, because two main reasons in my opinion. Well, three. The manager they've kept Bielsa and his assistant. The job he did at Leeds last year was incredible. The fans absolutely spur Leeds on to another level that other fans cannot do. The atmosphere at Ellen Road, I hate to say it, is amazing week in, week out. The support from their fans is amazing. And I'm not a fan of Leeds, but the fans do deserve Premier League football in my opinion, and I think they'll go up. And also the incredible loan signing of Helder Costa from Premier League Wolves. So I think Leeds will be a force next year, and they'll finally get the chance in the Premier League, and I think they will finish second. And my team that I think is going to win the Championship next year, fortunately for us, the team we've got on the open day season is Fulham, coming down from the Premier League. Yes, they got rid of their manager to halfway through the season last year. They didn't have the best season last year. They had such a good squad last year with some of the players they had like Mitrovic and Schürrle, Callum Chambers, Tom Kearney, Ryan Sessegnon, Rico in net I do believe. Such a good team, but nothing really seemed to gel last year. The football they played in the Championship the year before didn't correspond to what they do, and they didn't do it in the Premier League like they could. And they've got Scott Parker as manager now. They've kept Mitrovic. Mitrovic has signed a new deal, which is huge. Kearney signed a new deal, which is huge, as Mitrovic was meant to be on his way out. Sessegnon is linked to be leaving, but he hasn't left yet. They've got Adoy, Mawson. They've got some great players, and I think they'll be too strong for the Championship, and I think Fulham will win the league next season. So yes, guys, quick outro. Thank you for watching. I apologise if you disagree with any of my predictions. That's my 1 to 24. If you agree with any, let me know. Put your comments, put your predictions in the comments. Let me know. Like and subscribe. And I'm sorry it's a short outro. The video is quite long, if I do recall. And yeah, just subscribe. Loads of videos coming up after whenever this goes up. See you in the next video.